we talk about some example hooks anyone in any industry can use, I want to show you guys this chart. It breaks down how people perceive your hooks so that we can keep this in mind when deciding what hook to pick for each form of content that we're posting. So the first chunk is a 30% feeling based. These people perceive content through feeling, meaning that they engage with content that makes them feel a certain way. The next category is the 25% fact based. They like content that provides analytics, data that they can analyze and get a better understanding of your content. The next biggest is the 20% fun at the top. These people enjoy stimulations through excitement or thrill. The next one is a 10% value-based. This means that they like content that aligns with their beliefs. The next 10% is imagination. And a good analogy is Albert Einstein. He typically sat in like a chair next to a window and just looked and thought. These people like content that makes them think a certain way, makes them reflect. And the last one is 5%. They're action-based. They have a really strong sense of urgency. So my question to you guys is, looking at this graph and knowing a little bit about each category now, how should this knowledge change the way that people present their content and pick their hooks?
I'm like really surprised, honestly, that feelings is the largest.
Yeah.
But then I just remember like what goes viral and like if someone posts something like really depressing, like usually that like blows up.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
Like something that just tugs on the heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think just looking at the chart in general, they can kind of like, companies can kind of break down like what their posts have maybe like attracted before and then kind of see where they might need to like switch up, make changes.
Right.
How to really tailor to the most people they can.
And it's kind of hard to like also like for your brand, it's hard to like if people are most in touch with their feelings and stuff. How do you cater your brand to be sad? You don't want that for your brand necessarily.
Right.
Well, the thing about all these buckets, I'll say, that we categorize people into, you don't need to target just one in your form of content. You can hit many different, like if it's a short form content, you can hit on, like, you don't have to hit on each. Maybe just focusing on the top three, the fact, fun, and feeling. But you can hit multiple in one video to get that bigger audience.
I mean, who doesn't like fun?
Right.
Who doesn't?
And I guess on the flip side, like for feelings, we could do like, I'm excited, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's true too.
You know, I feel like when I think of feelings, though, I do think more of like the sad connotation. Like,
maybe
so much dog died.
Maybe we're just sad.
Because that one,
maybe we're just sad people. I don't know.
Yeah, that one's used a lot though. Like the sad, like humane shelters, like dog shelters. They'll use that sad feeling.
Oh my gosh, the girl with the song and the commercials. Oh, what was her name?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
with like the violin.
Yeah, I know. I can. Yeah.
All right. Now that we know how different users.
Now that we're all depressed.
now that we're all
let's move
on that note. But now that we know how different users engage with content, we need to find a hook that will engage the most of them in the few seconds possible. Typically, the first 3 seconds is what we say. A few examples are the curiosity gap, ASMR, or talking about a mistake in a certain field. What are some examples of hooks you guys have seen on social media, and what are your thoughts on framing them effectively? And feel free to elaborate on it.
Actually, before we jump into that, do you think you could maybe explain a little bit on what the curiosity gap is?
So the curiosity gap, typically this is a hook that you use right away. You want to present like not a question, but you want to have a mysterious part in your video that gets the user thinking, what is that? And you want to reveal it at the end, so you get that whole attention. But if you can get them caught on that mystery of like, what is that? What's going to happen next? That'll keep them watching, and you'll get their attention that you want.
I think like the one example you gave last week when we were talking about this that helps you understand curiosity gap is like seeing a video in your feed, like 5 things you're doing wrong in the gym. Because then you're like, oh, like
what am I doing?
Yeah, is this me? Like, what can I fix? Like just like that little like immediate like kind of like reaction that people are like, oh, that's me. Like, I gotta watch this whole thing now. So
that's kind of tackling 2 of them too. That's the curiosity gap of am I making these mistakes, and the mistakes in the field one. It's like you can highlight typical mistakes or frame it like, are you making these mistakes? And that'll really get people to watch.
Or it's like, the top 5s, like top 5 best places to go in like Wisconsin or something.
top
like
5
that.
best schools and
Yes, top
Virginia,
5
I
best
see it.
schools.
and you're like,
Yeah.
gosh.
Yes, and you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I wonder if I'm on here, and then you watch the whole entire
and you're
thing.
not.
And you're not, and then you're sad.
But
again.
you watched the whole thing, you know?
Yeah, at the end of the day, they got what they wanted.
And then
they got you to watch them.
And they
Yeah,
spike
exactly.
your feelings into, you know, they
Carleen, we're just sad.
yeah, right? We're just
Yeah, maybe-
working, like
Maybe
now.
we just need to work on our emotional well-being on this table.
Yeah.
Right.
Now that we're sad again, let's move on.
Right. Can we, speaking of ASMR, can we bring back slime videos to do?
Yeah.
ASMR
I
is
used
a
to
very
make
powerful
slime.
tool.
Yes.
Yeah, and
the
so
beads, like the crunchy.
yeah, so someone explain how ASMR is related to those hooks a little bit.
So when we were talking about walking people through the production of your product or the packing of your product, that's one that I see a lot. If
Mhm.
you're making a video that shows how you pack your product, getting a mic close to, like, if you're tearing
yes,
paper,
yes.
you're sealing something, you're breaking a box,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
you may want to make fun of the use of ASMR,
Yes.
but it's effective and
It's
it
a
works.
real
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
It's a real
My
thing.
favorite is when people do, like, typically moms do, like, their Sunday resets and they're, like,
Oh yeah.
clinking their little jars,
Yeah.
like,
spraying the
restock,
counter.
yes,
or
wiping everything,
Yes.
cleaning up.
There's
I
a
love it.
reason that slime businesses haven't gone out
Yeah,
of
it's still-
business.
yeah.
There's a reason that they're still promoting on TikTok, and every now and then you get slime, like, and then they're like clicking and like
Yeah, for
rolling
real.
and popping and stuff. Like, there's a reason that stuff is still popular and
Mhm.
people still buy it.
From an
Yeah.
influencer perspective, I've seen they weren't like advertising a product or anything, but like people breaking ice with rocks.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big
Yeah.
one. I'm not necessarily saying that you can use that for, per se, a business or promotion of a product, but that's an example of how it can be effective, and like people engage with that.
Yeah,
kind of
they
stuff.
do.
Like, I know I watch some of those videos; they're cool.
Yeah.
And it can kind of tie into like what we were talking about before with like the formats. If you show the process of how you make
Right.
something, if you include like cutting cloth with scissors or like something like that,
Oh,
people
yeah.
love to like listen to that, and they're watching how you make it. So it's like format
Mhm.
and hook all together.
Or like if you're showing how to wrap a gift,
I was just
Yeah,
gonna
and
say
you do
that
like
example.
the
Yeah.
scissors, like
You're
the-
like,
Yep.
yep. And just like wrapping it all,
Yeah.
Did you see how we
For
were all
sure.
in sync with that? That was amazing.
I was literally just gonna. that's so funny you said that.
We're all
That's my
on the same-
example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
same wavelength though.
We're all on the same feet, I guess. Connor's just not sad.
Yeah,
I'm just
he's
not-
just not depressed.
I'm bringing the energy.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.